If you ignore your website, it will malfunction at the worst possible moment. Think of it like your work truck. If you don't take care of it, don't change the oil, things like that, disaster is bound to happen. So I'll give you a 4-step, very low touch method to make sure your website stays functioning and continue to produce leads for you. So let's dive into the video. If you're new here, my name is Josh. I own Websky. We're a website design and digital marketing systems service provider for home service businesses. We help businesses automate the boring and minute stuff, link different technologies together, your CRM, your review management software. That's where we come in. Very, very low cost to include that. And our goal is to build the foundation that your business has to then grow more. Start doing paid advertising, start doing all the SEO in the world, which we offer. But yeah, so we think about foundation level. So anything we're going to be discussing here is I want to be very low touch as possible just to make sure your website is continuing to work as it should and as you're expecting it to. Because I know I've been there. Raise your hand if you've been there too. Once that website's live, it can be an afterthought at times. I've seen it with some of my customers, some of my personal sites, just for different blogging side passions and stuff. I've done it. So trust me, you're not alone. But once your website's live, that's when it's really time to focus in, not just on your marketing, but also making sure you have a plan and system in place to keep things running like a well-oiled machine. So number one, update your software. If you're on WordPress, most of the video will be about WordPress. If you're on WordPress, you're going to have your plugins, your themes, and your database. I like to make sure when it comes to doing plugins and when it comes to updates, you'll have version numbers. You'll have 8.0, 8.1, 8.1.1. I usually tend, unless there's been a vulnerability I've read like in a blog or seen like in the news, I usually like to only update when that second version has came out. So the 8.0.1, for instance. Very rarely is your software going to jump from 8.0 to 8.1. So look for that kind of second, third version as they've tested things to update. That's just my rule of thumb. The more high touch sites, the more high maintenance sites we'll do a bit more frequently, depends on that. Definitely e-commerce gets a little hairy, but update your software, take that smaller approach, and you'll be just fine making sure that second or third versions come out before you do anything with your updates. Number two is backing up your site. So if your hosting provider, if you're on what's called a managed hosting plan with a GoDaddy, Managed WP, HostGator may even have one now, they will usually have a backup for you to sign up for, so I know that may cost money. You can also use, I love Updraft Plus. It's a free plugin you can download and add to your website. And then you'll download, I think you can set the schedule, the recurring schedule even on the free plan. It downloads about 5 folders plus your database file that all you got to do is save to your hard drive. You don't have to know how to use this because hopefully, fingers crossed, if we're updating the right way and the tech's working as it should, which can sometimes not be the case, you should not need this. But if you do, it's something you can either hop on YouTube, figure out how to upload that, or you can contact your friendly neighborhood tech guy, webmaster. I can do it for you. So I can't tell you how nice it is to say, oh, here's my backup file, and it saves me so much time. Back up your site before you do any updates. Before you touch your site at all. I love backing up my site. I do it daily for all my care plan clients. It depends on what software you have and limitations. You may not be able to do that often. Pick a schedule that works best for your workflow. The third one, this one gets a bit in the weeds, as optimizing your database. It's built into my software how I do this, and I would only recommend it if it's offered in your software or in your plugin. The manual approach is not going to be something I would recommend to really to anyone. Just because it's hard to say. I know there's probably people smarter than me that can say, here's the exact quantitative reasoning for optimizing your database. I can't do that. So I like to say, okay, it's nice to have, keep things running. But if you're in a situation where you don't have that option available, don't worry about it. And we go to the next one. The next one, number 4, scan for vulnerabilities. This is, again, also an automated process that most of your managed hosting providers should also have. It's definitely included in the software I'm going to mention. But a vulnerability is, let's say, for instance, I'm using Gravity Forms on my website, and there's a known exploit. Let's say a certain PHP file in the plugin has bad code that lets a certain virus, cyber attack come through and penetrate the website and the server. That's what is flagged as a vulnerability. So the devs very quickly, write new code, put a patch in, and that's where you may see an update for a vulnerability. Always do those. I do not wait on those. I was talking top of the video about my update kind of philosophy. Do not wait for vulnerability. Say that fast 3 times. Do not wait for vulnerability updates. Just go ahead and do them, because more often than not, there's no features built into those. So when you have the 8.1.1, 8.1.2, those are including usually bug fixes, but also maybe some new features, some minor features. Mostly what I see, the patches for security issues do not include any features at all. So theoretically, it won't break anything on your site. But like I said, we have backups, so just in case, we're good. So I'm going to throw a bonus in before we get to the very last one here. Number 5/bonus, if you will, is to test everything after you do it. The whole video, the premise of this is how contractors can maintain their website without a tech guy. And that is still the case, but I want to definitely encourage you to, anytime you make changes to your site, whether it's, page names, updates, theme changes, always test after the case. Yeah. So there is something called a staging and dev site that you could go the route of, but to keep it simple and keep it easy, I just usually make a change, maybe update one plugin, check everything, update the next one, check everything, just to double check nothing because like you hate to get in the situation where you bulk update 10 plugins at once, and then next thing you know, you load your site and your service page is gone, or your video is not loading right. So which one caused the issue? It's hard to know. So test, update, test, update, test, and then also test your forms. I mentioned in my previous video, mention it here again because I've seen it countless times and times over. Always test your forms, making sure the right people are getting them, making sure people that maybe are getting them that shouldn't be, get rid of them. Maybe your services have changed. Also, always add in, how'd you hear about us? That's the easiest way to attribute your marketing dollars to performance without having to get into the tracking parameters and things like that, and attribution methods. So once you've updated everything, you have your backups, you update, you test, you're in a really good spot to move to the next. So yeah, number 5, make sure you test. Can't stress it enough. If you have any questions about how to test, things like that, leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to answer that for you. So number 6, the grand finale, if you will, is maybe thinking, Josh, this is a great list, but it seems a bit time consuming because I also run a business. And you're right, it is. That's why we do it under a website maintenance and support plan or care plans. But if you want to still do this yourself, which I encourage anyone to, there's 2 main softwares that I'm recommending to people now. ManageWP. Recently, in the last year or 2, maybe 3 or 4 years, bought by GoDaddy. That kind of comes with its own. Maybe not. But also WP Umbrella. That's the newest one I'm switching most of my clients to. And everything we mentioned plus more, this does it for you. Very nice dashboard, client report. You can see what was done, how many updates were finished. But most importantly, it has the backups built in down to the hour, I believe, for WP Umbrella. And then you can quickly restore your site to that previous backup if anything happens, security issues, things like that. So not to say you have to have software to do this. I just highly recommend it to make it easier for you and anyone on your team that you may task with this. But like I said, if you would like to have us do this, you know how to reach me. So yeah, that is the 5/6 ways that you can make sure your website's up to date and maintained without hiring a tech guy or becoming a tech guy. I know most people don't want to think about this. Most people they can't spend the time to dive into this. So I try to make this very quick, rudimentary baseline guide for this. It goes way deeper, like most things when it comes to tech. But if you do this, you'll be very well off, better than probably most of your competitors are not, paying someone to do this. If you have any questions, like I said, leave me a comment. My email is jdunn@webski.io. And then if you want a little freebie for staying so long, if you go to webski.io/GBP, this is our free 6 tips guide for getting more customers on Google. Not necessarily related to the maintenance part, but you can get this free guide that will help you optimize your Google business profile. And then if you comment the word manual down below, I'll send you a bit more of a structured document that I discussed in our previous video that will help piece some of this maintenance schedule together for you. So I'm going to sign off. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate the support, and you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks.